Hi, welcome to Snoriezzz, a children's bedtime podcast hosted by your Snory godmothers. I'm Marcia Gay Harden, and I love sleep.
And I'm Natalie Peyton. I love sleep too. Thanks for joining us.
Time to settle in, snuggle up, put your head on the pillow, and get ready for your Snoriezzz bedtime ritual. First, we start with mindful talk.
Your Snory godmothers wonder, do you ever feel different or out of place?
You may feel that way, but let us assure you that different is cool. Each and every one of us is unique and special in our own rights.
Being different can feel awkward, but it's truly something to own and embrace. Don't think of it as a bad thing. Instead, invite yourself to accept how uniquely special you are.
Kiddos, when we talk to ourselves without judgment, we're using positive words called affirmations. Let's show some love for how wonderfully different we are from anyone else in the world.
Repeat after your Snory godmother, Marcia. Say it quietly or say it in your mind, but don't just say it, kiddos. Really feel it and experience the energy of the words.
I trust myself.
You know what to do.
I am thankful to be me.
We're thankful you're you too.
I am wonderfully made.
You are incredibly special.
I listen to my body.
That's so important, because here's your Snory science tip. Did you know that your brain cleans itself out while you're sleeping? When you're asleep, it's your brain's time to take a bath. So when you wake up, your brain can be fresh.
I like helping my community.
That's a truly beautiful characteristic. In today's Snory, The Happy Prince, you will hear how a special prince and a little bird help their community. Kiddos, the Snory is almost here, but first, we want to help you get ready with your body and mind so you can focus and get all your jitters out. We do this by grounding with your surroundings and focusing on your senses. Your Snory godmothers will always remind you how precious and sweet sleep is for you, and we hope you can honor it like us. In today's grounding, we want you to imagine the most relaxing place in the world to you. It could be your bedroom, maybe the beach with sounds of the waves. Maybe it's a cozy fireplace and you're under blankets. Wherever it is, let your imagination soak up the peaceful and relaxing feeling it gives you. Now bring your mind back to your room and let's do some big belly breathing. Fill your belly up with air. Do you see how big you can make your tummy? And breathe out. Breathe in slowly through your nose. Are there any smells that snuck their way into your nose? Now breathe out. Take a small breath in through your mouth and notice the difference of how that feels in your belly. Can you hear your breath as you breathe out? For your last breath in tonight's grounding, imagine your favorite tasting food or treat and breathe it into your body. And breathe out. You did it. Now that you're grounded and your imagination is turned on, it's time to enjoy the Snory.
Our Snory today was written by an Englishman named Oscar Wilde. He wrote another story you may have already listened to with us, The Selfish Giant. But today's Snory is called The Happy Prince. Once upon a time, on a high hill above an ancient village, at the top of a tall column, stood a magnificent statue called the Happy Prince. He was covered with gold leaves from head to toe, and his eyes were two sparkling blue sapphire jewels, and there was a big red ruby on the handle of his sword. Everyone who saw the golden statue of the Happy Prince fell in love with him. His beautiful face reminded them to be happy and kind. The Happy Prince could see the baker making bread at the bottom of the hill, and he could see way out to the edge of the forest where a woodcutter gathered firewood. He could also see deep into the forest where there lived a silly little swallow who had fallen in love with a piece of grass. The swallow bird was supposed to be flying somewhere warmer for the winter, but he was late because he was in love. "My sweet reed," the swallow chirped, "all of my bird friends have flown down to Egypt for the winter. Let's go too. If you stay here, you'll freeze." But the grass said nothing. She only swayed in the breeze. "Oh, please," said the swallow. "We can go to the pyramids. Come on. Let's fly to Egypt. We'll come back after winter. That's what birds do. We migrate." Miss Grass said nothing because she only spoke grass language and not bird language. She tried to tell him that it was okay if she froze. She grew in the ground, and every spring she would come back alive because she was grass, not a bird. But the silly little swallow didn't understand, so he gave her a big hug. "I'll miss you," he chirped. The grass just waved in the wind. The little swallow flew away. He was excited to see his friends, so he flew and flew all day. But as the day wore on, he was getting tired. Finally, he saw the beautiful little village with the golden statue shining at the top of the hill. "I guess I'll just stop here for a little nap and take off for Egypt again in a couple of hours. I can't wait to join my friends where it's warm." So he flew through the town up to the golden statue. "Ah, this fellow sure is handsome," thought the swallow, and down he went to rest for a bit at the shiny feet of the Happy Prince. "Wow," he said, looking all around him, "I have a golden bedroom." And he snuggled down and put his head under his wing. But just as he was about to fall asleep, a large drop of water fell on him. "What in the world is going on? Where did this drop come from? There's not a cloud in the sky." He tucked his head under his wing again, and he closed his eyes. But just as he was about to fall asleep, another drop of water fell on him. He thought, "Oh, for goodness sake, what's the use of a golden statue if it can't even keep the rain off? I'd better find another spot to sleep." But before he had opened up his wings to fly off, still another drop fell, and he peeked up at the statue. And what do you think he saw? It wasn't rain. The eyes of the Happy Prince were filled with tears, and more tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity. "Who are you?" he said. "I am the Happy Prince." "Why are you crying then?" asked the swallow. "You've completely soaked me in your tears." "When I was alive and had a human heart," answered the statue, "I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace of Sanssouci, where sorrow was not allowed to enter. In the daytime I played with my companions in the garden, and in the evening I led the dance at the great hall. Round the garden ran a very mighty wall, but I never cared to ask what lay beyond it. Everything around me was so beautiful. My friends called me the Happy Prince. Happy indeed I was, if pleasure be happiness. So I lived, and so I died." "So why are you crying now?" asked the swallow. "Your life's not so bad." Not so bad, but now that I am dead, they've set me up here so high that I can see all the ugliness and all the misery of my city, and though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but weep." "What do you see that's making you so sad, Mr. Prince?" Far away, I can see a shabby little apartment where there is no heat, and inside the window there's a woman sewing gowns for royal ladies. Her fingers are red and bloody because she's been sewing so much, and next to her on a bed is a sick little boy crying for oranges. He has a fever. He's cold and thirsty, but his mother doesn't have any money for oranges, so she can only give him dirty river water. "Ooh, that's awful," the swallow chirped. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow. Take the ruby from my sword hilt and give it to her. Then she can buy food for the boy and for herself." "No, I can't do that. Winter is coming. I have to hurry to Egypt tonight and find my friends. Hoo-hoo! They're all flying up and down the Nile River right now and talking to the large lotus flowers. You're not the only statue around, you know. I also want to see the Sphinx in front of the pyramids. It's warm there." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow. Please stay with me tonight and be my messenger. The poor boy is so thirsty." "Aw, come on," groaned the swallow. "I don't even like boys because they always throw rocks at me." But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow said, "Oh, okay. I'll stay with you for this one night and be your messenger. Then I gotta go." "Thank you, little swallow," said the prince. So the swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away over the roofs of the town. He flew over the palace where the happy prince had lived and heard the sound of dancing and saw beautiful people dressed in fine clothing. He flew on until he came to the poor woman's house. He hopped in the window and saw that she had fallen asleep at her sewing machine, sewing lovely iridescent gowns for the ladies at the palace. He laid the ruby down next to her so she would find it in the morning and be able to buy food. Nearby was her little boy sleeping, and he was very hot with a fever, so the swallow flew gently around his bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. "Oh, I feel so much cooler," said the boy. "Oh, I think I must be getting better." And he sank into a delicious sleep. So the swallow flew back to the happy prince statue and told him what he had done. "It's kind of funny," said the swallow, "but even though it's cold, I feel kind of warm inside." "And that's because you've done a good thing for someone else," said the prince. And with that, the little swallow smiled and fell asleep at the golden feet of the statue. In the morning, the sun was bright, and so the swallow flew all around the town, excited to leave for Egypt. Then in the evening, just as the moon was rising, he flew back to the prince. "Well, I'm on my way. I'm ready to start my journey." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince. "Will you stay with me one night longer?" "Absolutely not," answered the swallow. "Tomorrow, all my friends are going to fly up to the Egyptian waterfalls. At noon, the yellow lions come down to the water's edge to drink. The lions have eyes like green jewels. I want to see it." But the prince was crying again. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow. I can see a very sad, hard-working student sitting at an old table. He's a writer and has to finish a play soon, but he's so hungry and weak that he cannot write." "Let me guess," said the swallow. "You want me to take him another ruby?" "Oh, no, I have no more rubies. Please pluck out one of the rare blue sapphires from my eye and take it to him. He can sell it to the jeweler and buy food and firewood and finish writing his play." "Are you kidding me? Pluck out your eye? You can't be serious." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince. "Do as I command you." So the swallow plucked out the prince's sapphire eye and flew away to the student's room. He flew through a hole in the roof where the cold wind was blowing in. He saw that the writer had fainted from hunger and cold, so the kind swallow put the sapphire on the writer's desk. Then he collected some dry twigs and lit a fire in the fireplace, and when the writer woke up and saw the warm fire and the lovely sapphire, he was so happy because now he could buy food and wood. The swallow flew back to the golden statue, and his heart felt even fuller than the night before. And that night, he had the most peaceful sleep he had ever known. The next day, the little swallow flew over to the ships in the harbor and cried to everyone, "I'm going to Egypt now! Yippee!" And then he flew back to the happy prince. "I have come to say goodbye." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "please will you stay with me just one night longer?" "Oh, man, I can't. It's winter already. I'm freezing," answered the swallow. "My bird buddies are all waiting for me in Egypt where the sun is warm on the green palm trees. Dear prince, I must leave, but I won't ever forget you." "Wait, before you go, swallow, swallow, dear little swallow." "In the square below," said the happy prince, "there's a little match girl who makes money by selling matches to other people. But all of her matches have fallen into the gutter, and they're all wet and ruined. If she doesn't bring home some money, her father will be upset because her family has nothing to eat, so she's crying. Little swallow, please pluck out my other eye and give it to her, and her father will be happy because then he can feed his family." "Well, I'll help you. Okay, but I've got to hurry," said the swallow, "and I can't pluck out your eye. You'd be completely blind then." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince. "Do as I command you." And so the swallow plucked out the prince's other eye and flew off with it. He swooped down to the little match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. "Oh, what a lovely jewel," cried the little girl, and she ran home, laughing, thanking heaven for this miracle. Then the swallow returned to the prince, but, of course, the prince couldn't see him now. Is that you, little swallow? Okay, you must hurry to Egypt." It was at that moment the swallow realized how much the prince needed him. No, you are blind now," he said to the statue, "so I will stay with you always and become your eyes." Every day the swallow woke up, flew over the city, and then came back and sat on the prince's golden shoulder and told him of all the sad and unfair things he'd seen. "I am covered with fine gold," said the prince. "You must take it off, leaf by leaf, and give it to my poor. The living always think that gold can make them happy." Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off, till the happy prince looked quite dull and gray. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played games in the street. "Oh, we have bread now," they exclaimed. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The streets looked as if they were made of silver. They were so bright and glistening. Long icicle-like crystal daggers hung down from the eaves of the houses. Everybody went about in furs, and the little boys wore scarlet caps and skated on the ice. The little swallow had now helped so many people that soon there were no more gold leaves on the prince to give away, and the statue was bare and gray. The winter settled in, and it got colder as more and more snow fell. The swallow was shivering and knew that he would not survive the season much longer. He flew to the prince and said, "Oh, my friend, it's time for me to go." "I'm glad you're going to Egypt at last, little swallow," said the happy prince. "No, my prince, not Egypt. It's time for me to go to heaven." "Don't worry, I'm not afraid. You helped me live a good life. But before I go," said the swallow, "may I please kiss you?" "Oh, I will be so sad without you," said the prince. "Yes, kiss me before you go." And so the little swallow kissed the prince, and then fell down at his feet, dead. Suddenly, there was a loud crack. It was the sound of the prince's lead heart breaking. In the morning, the mayor of the city passed the statue. "Ew, what an ugly statue," he said to his assistant. "And look, it has a dead bird at its feet. Break it down immediately and put up a statue of me instead." When the mayor's men pulled down the statue and broke it apart, do you know what they found? They found the 2 pieces of the prince's broken lead heart, and they threw them into the trash can next to the dead swallow. Then suddenly, all the clouds began to sparkle and swirl in the sky, and a lovely voice said to their angels, "Bring me the most precious two things in the world." So the angels flew down to earth and brought back the dead swallow and the prince's broken heart to the powerful voice. "Well chosen, my angels. From now on, the swallow will sing in my heaven, and the prince will help me take care of all the people of my world." And that is what they are doing to this very day, taking care of all the people in the world. The end.
Now it's time to calm your body down. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your tummy like a big balloon. And breathe out slowly through your mouth. Your body has done so much for you today. So we're going to scan through each of your body parts and switch them all off so they can go to sleep too. This time, let's start way down low at the base of your body with your little toes. Gently wiggle them and switch them off. Now your feet. Rub them against your sheets and switch them off. Feel your ankles, then switch them off. Breathe in. Feel your weight on the bed. And breathe out. Now focus on your calves and switch them off. Think about your knees, who have helped your legs all day, and switch them off. Breathe in and breathe out. Switch off your thighs in the front and in the back. Think about your hips and switch them off. Focus on your belly. And while you breathe, feel it rise and fall like a balloon. Now switch that off too. Switch off your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Keep breathing. Switch off your spine, your neck, your head. Then switch off your face. And remember to switch off your jaw. Switch off your mouth, your nose, your cheeks, and your forehead. Switch off your eyes and your eyebrows. Be still and be calm. You have switched off your whole body. Slowly take one last deep breath in and breathe out. Observe how your body feels. And now your whole body is switched off, and you've calmed your body down.
Sweet dreams, sleep tight, and know that everything is going to be all right.